Chance at top-tier tickets from John Mulaney to the Smashing Pumpkins, My Chemical Romance, and more. Don't wait. Enter now at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
You know what my favorite Chemical Romance song is? Comma, 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 chameleon. Hey, that was funny.
I always love that one.
Nice stuff, huh? It never stops, does it? It never changes. Same thing. Day in, day out, but the people seem to like it. We had another nice report card for April 30th. The smell of success. It's actually my lunch. Some leftover ribeye and a little leftover chicken. You know, when people do a surf and turf, I'm having a turf and coop, chicken coop. Hey, let's do 5, 3, 4.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Brought to you by Willow River Company. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hip hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins beat the White Sox 5-3 in 11 innings last night in Chicago. Brooks Lee hit a 3-run double in the 11th. Joe Ryan gave up just 2 runs on 5 hits over 7 2/3 innings, striking out 9 with no walks, though he did give up a game-tying homer to Munetaka Murakami in the 8th. The Twins.
Did you practice that name?
I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly.
It doesn't matter. It's perfect. Right?
I did watch the highlight of his home run, and the Chicago guy called him Mune, so I assume that's how you say the first part of his first name.
Okay, perfect.
Munetaka Murakami. The Twins snapped their 7-game losing streak to the White Sox. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins win on the South Side?
What did stick out? There was something else I noticed about. It was a preposterous statement. Somebody said they nominated. Is it Trevor Plouffe? Is he doing some analysis on the Twins?
He does.
Okay. Apparently, he said there was a runner on third base for who are we playing in this series?
The White Sox.
White Sox. That's right. And he suggested that the relief pitcher balk him home so he wouldn't be a distraction on third base. So balk, get him off third, so then he's not.
That makes 0 sense.
Well, it doesn't make any sense if he really said it. Now, again, full disclosure. But if Trevor, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but if it gets back to you, I know it won't. But I'm just going by what somebody said.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe not a question, maybe a statement. If the run on third base doesn't mean anything, how is that a distraction?
Well,
how would he be distracting you?
Well, that's it. That's the point. That's what the point is. And then I guess the next hitter got a hit and drove him in anyways, and then they got the next out after that, and the game was over. So I don't know how much of a distraction it is. But that's what I took from the game, is that we should have balked him home. That's sort of like the bit we do all the time.
Can we do an intentional balk instead of intentional walk?
Oh, I like that. Just go, I'm going to
just tell the umpire, hey, just let him score.
Yeah, I'm going to try to what I throw, but I don't really throw? That's what balk, yes. This is an intentional balk. I like that. Well, it's similar to, and we've teased Kevin Gorg endlessly about keeping the game scoreless as long as possible. And like I've said on the air, and I say this to Deuce, that means if you have a wide open net, just miss it, right? I'm going to miss the net because we do not want to score. And the same thing is, intentional box, just let them score, So, yeah. But good for the Twins. Somebody sent me a text during the last segment, and it was baseball related. It says, Tenna and Common. Do you realize there are only 3 AL teams above 500? How can this be? Interdivisional baseball or interleague play is what it is. That's my only assumption. And the
other part is a lot of those teams under 500 are close.
Yes.
It's not like one's just absolutely tanking.
Right.
And you have like a team like Tampa Bay that's 16 games over 500, so that also.
Yes. So for those 2 reasons is why it is. And they're my guess is it's because they're all just terrible teams in terrible cities with terrible fans and terrible stadiums. I don't think these teams are just so good. They go back and forth and they take the best punch the other has to throw at them. I don't believe that, but maybe that's the case. But yeah, it is strange. And that's why we keep seeing those, 2 teams in 2 cities with terrible fans and terrible stadiums. I don't think these teams are just so good. They go back and forth and they take the best punch the other has to throw at them. I don't believe that, but maybe that's the case. But yeah, it is strange. And that's why we keep seeing those, 2 I'm always amused by we're still like we haven't even hit June yet. We haven't been to the dog days of summer yet we still go. Twins they're a wild card team right now. And it's like, well, yeah, but right now the playoffs aren't starting right now. There's so far to go. Hell, they might be the division winner by the end of the season. But it really doesn't matter much right now whether you're a wild card team or not because things are going to change, I would think, fairly dramatically between now and October.
Question number 2. It's time now for multiple choice.
Which headline at ESPN.com would you most likely click on? A, Packers Jacobs out of jail, investigation ongoing. B, bipartisan college sports bill proposes salary cap. C, FIFA subpoenaed over World Cup ticket practices. D, Smart hints SEC could leave NCAA if no CFP deal. E,
I didn't even understand what you just said there.
E, source, Wemby warned for ditching reporters. F, Chiefs Kelsey joining Guardians ownership group. Or G, UNCW hoops coach nearly drowns during rescue.
That one would, can you go to that?
The drowning?
Yeah, what the hell happened there? I didn't even see that headline.
Nicole Woods, UNC Wilmington's women's basketball coach, said she's lucky to be alive after being caught in a rip current while trying to rescue her 8-year-old nephew during a family beach outing last week.
Wow.
She took her 2 children as well as her niece and nephew, both 8, to Wrightsville Beach on May 21st. Her nephew waded into the Atlantic Ocean when a wave knocked him under the water. Woods said she jumped in to help him, only to have the current start dragging both of them out to sea. Woods pushed her nephew above the surface so he could breathe before she lost consciousness.
Wow.
A rescue team pulled Woods and her nephew to shore. Paramedics performed CPR on Woods, then used a defibrillator. I can never say this word.
Defibrillator.
Defibrillator to revive her.
Like fibbing.
Woods said she spent at least 24 hours on a ventilator before being able to breathe on her own.
Holy mackerel. And does it say anywhere in there, do they know if she's going to be, everything's going to be just fine or loss of oxygen or anything that could be?
She did not sustain any brain injuries.
Okay, that's good.
Has been given a clean bill of health. She's now recovering at home.
Well, you know what? I've read this. I'm not a very strong swimmer, tend to be. I've recanted the tale on a number of occasions that when my dad put a pool in our backyard when I was in high school in Forest Lake, I learned to swim by just putting on one of those orange life jackets, the one they hand out at Gopher football games. And I put it on. I would jump into the swimming pool, and I just would swim. And then after doing that for 2 weeks, I took it off one time and said, I'm just going to do the same thing I was doing and pretend I have a life jacket on. It worked. Now, that doesn't make me a good swimmer. So I would never go out and swim into the ocean very, very far. But I'm told, and you've probably heard this as well, if a riptide starts to pull you out, you don't swim towards shore. You swim side. You don't. I don't know how that works, though. If you're not swimming, if you're getting swept out to sea, even if you're swimming along the coastline instead, aren't you still going to get pulled out to sea? But that's what they recommend. But I'm never going to have to worry about that because you're not going to see me out swimming in the ocean anytime soon.
Question number 3.
Controversy.
I'm going to say something controversial.
It's time now for the controversial question of the day.
Common, if you could go back and redo 1 year of your life or add 20 years to your life, which would you choose?
Where's the intermission music?
Did you lose that now, too?
No, I just said, I couldn't find my button bar. 20 years back, that would put me at 4'7".
No. Well, I don't know if it says to go back 20 years. It just said it would add 20 years.
Oh, add 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if they add 20 years and 15 of them, I'm in an iron lung?
Well, that's what it says. It depends on what quality of life that 20 is, right? Like if I'm going to die, let's say 85, and now I can just live till 105. I mean, I guess I would choose that, but I don't know what the quality of life is during that 20 years. Whereas if I was like Mark Rosen, where I'm just adding like 20 years where I feel like I'm 45, I would add that.
That's exactly right. There's like 15 years of my life that I don't even remember because I was under the influence of a whole galaxy of multicolored uppers and downers and screamers and laughers. So which of those 15 years would I choose to relive? I don't know, because those would be the ones I would. That's a good question. I think I'd take the 20 extra. I guess. Yeah, I think the 20 extra.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
My guess is you have a rock rank for Rock Talk and Brian Oak locked and loaded. Right?
Obviously.
Beautiful. He joins us next. By the way, 534 brought to you by the Willow River Company. They have 10 arborists, 10 of them, that they are there, and they will give you a free inspection to say, this tree is good, this one ain't, take this one out, keep watering that one. They've done it for me. They removed a tree that was like 7/8 dead, had like one branch still sprouting leaves, not going to work. Took out a couple of others and then redid my whole landscaped area back there. It's just beautiful. And they walked me through how to water it when it's just been planted and it's beautiful and it's already sprouting leaves and it's great. They can do the same for you, I promise. WillowRiverCompany.com is the place to go. That's WillowRiverCompany.com. Stick around. Brian Oak and Rock Talk next here on The Fan.
The Common Man.
It's funny. It's got emotion. I was crying to it. It's so good, man.
Weekdays at noon on The Fan.
From the 1-8.
The takes don't stop when the mics turn off. Check out the KFAN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials and password games, and behind-the-scenes content. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today.
Double 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's 10 to be excited and delighted to be joined by Brian Oak. And tell me, is this true? You have a podcast?
I have an award-winning podcast.
Yes, I've heard
actually.
won an award.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone who voted in the Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine poll for best locally produced podcast. I just recorded episode 577 yesterday.
But who's counting?
Well, exactly, I am, because it's hard to imagine that many have come and gone. But the legendary Suburbs, Minnesota Legends, joined me on the podcast to talk about their brand new live album. So totally worth checking that out. Hugo, always a good hang, the original drummer from the band, and Steve Price was there as well. And the website, by way of more shameless self-promotion, the Brian Oak Show podcast has a brand new, totally revamped website with, get ready for it, merch. Yeah, baby. So it's time to start repping the second best podcast, locally produced podcast on the back of your sweatpants or whatever you like.
Merchandise.
Exactly. It's a whole new era in podcasting.
Oh, it's nice to sell merchandise.
Well, and again, maybe no one will care, and maybe we won't even sell a single can koozie. But if you want to at least look at what we've got available, it is over there at thebrianoakshow.com.
Barry, the art guy, would charge us a nominal fee, Meat Sauce and I, for, no money, no funny comedy.
Right.
Flop, Sweat, and Tears. And so we didn't sell all of the one batch. We've had like three or four different iterations of T-shirts.
Right.
So we have these extra ones, and, I'm the brains of the operation, which is scary. I said, why don't we do this? We'll say buy one of the newer ones for $30. We'll sell you one of the other ones for $5 because we've already invested the money.
Yeah.
So we're losing money, but it doesn't feel like you're losing money.
Well, yeah,
right?
but
you've already spent the money.
You're sitting on product that's not doing anything,
right.
So you might as well recoup some losses off of it.
So
that's actually not a terrible idea, Common. You are the brains of the operation.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah, Meat Sauce.
Lucky.
So I'm looking at the merch on your website. I really like the Indigo Girls Fan Club T-shirt you have.
Wow, unbelievable.
That's a good one.
Unbelievable. No, the only thing trademarked in there is the name of the podcast. There's no, I don't have any other band merchandise, although you're giving me ideas. Maybe we could come up with some sort of
quick slip-in t-shirt with an X through it.
But like a cooperative deal where, we start working with the Sarah McLaughlins and the Indigo Girls of the world. I'm in.
I think you're either on to something or you're on something.
Probably, maybe both. There is always that possibility.
Here on ROK TOK, there's really no rhyme to reason what we talk about.
Correct.
Are you familiar with a website called Grunge?
No. Well, I'm familiar with the musical movement of grunge, but not grunge per se. No. What do you got?
Grunge.com.
Okay. Well, and I'm guessing I have a vague idea of the kind of music they cover.
They do, but this is not grunge. This is Cat Stevens.
Really?
Who became Yusuf
Islam.
Cat Stevens' best charting single in 1972 was originally just 40 seconds long. Morning is Broken. You're familiar with it, right?
I am.
Brilliant piece of work, by the way.
It's gorgeous. It's one of those songs that evokes what it's singing about so thoroughly that everyone knows this melody. Everyone.
Yeah, it says, one of the few songs Stevens recorded that he didn't originate. Morning is Broken was recorded for the musician's 1971 album Teaser and the Firecat. In a beautiful, touching and gentle meditation, Stephen salutes the new day at dawn, showing thanks and praise for the chance to live life surrounded by casually wonderful and profound things like rain, dew, sunlight, and birds. Very simple, very happy song, right? It's really good when you're smoking dope.
There's that.
So now it says, though, when he first did the song, he only had 40 seconds for the song. Here's what it says. Before he set out to record Teaser and the Firecat, Cat Stevens was lacking in material until he discovered Morning is Broken. I know all about lacking in material. Just go to a Flop, Sweat, and Tears show. He discovered Morning is Broken, a hymn written by English author and poet Eleanor Ferrion in 1931 to Benesson, a Gaelic melody from the 1880s. Stevens said, it was quite a traditional song sung in the church, and I just did my own arrangement. The key figure in transforming Morning is Broken was Rick Wakeman.
What?
Part of the band Yes, with whom the keyboardist would record albums that define prog rock. Wakeman would flee his band to play keyboards with other mega successful artists, but he was in the studio complex when Stevens was trying to record Morning is Broken. Stevens asked for some piano pizzazz, but he needed more than that. He said, the only problem is it's only 40 seconds long, which is a bit short for a single. This is what Wakeman recalled when he was at a speaking engagement.
Right.
Wakeman suggested that Stevens reprise the first verse, then repeatedly use Wakeman's majestic piano intro throughout, along with multiple key changes. Wakeman said, Cat Stevens stuck his vocals on top, and that was that. The official running time of Morning is Broken was 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and it hit number 10 on the U.S. and U.K. charts. But I got this.
Always learning.
And it's just crazy how it's from some Gaelic church song he heard. He loved it, but he only had 40 seconds. He goes down the hall. There's Rick Wakeman recording for somebody else. Says, can you help me with this? And Wakeman goes, yeah, I got an idea. And they slap it together, and it's done just like that.
And they create an enduring, lifelong hit. Yeah. To think about heavy hitters like that, just popping them out all the time. And the inspiration for the song, I love that story because you never know. You might hear a bird song. You might hear some sing-songy kid's voice. You never know where that next hook is going to come from, but you feel it, right? I mean, that's the reason we love music. There's that hook, there's that hit, and there it was, and then they just turned it into one of the most, sort of inarguably beautiful songs of Western pop culture.
In any male of my vintage who was looking for romance, you had a copy of a Cat Stevens album somewhere, especially T for the Tillerman. You would have that because the gals, they really dug Cat Stevens and thought he was groovy.
Well, he was groovy. He's and other ones to go with other than T for the Tillerman, Teaser and the Firecat, which you mentioned there, an absolutely crucial record. But he also did the entire soundtrack to the movie Harold and Maude. And in my humble opinion, a couple of his finest compositions are also on that soundtrack.
You don't have to like Cat Stevens, but you have to respect him.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
You said you had you're the Grum Reaper.
I am the Grum Reaper.
When musicians or people in the music industry pass away, we always turn to you.
Well, I mean, that's how Rock Talk started. I would just make occasional visits whenever anybody of note would pass. So now I just kind of call them up for the week behind us. I got two of them, both noteworthy. Some would say groundbreaking and foundational. One is an absolute, people use the term all the time, but a true jazz legend. Saxophonist Sonny Rollins died at the age of 95. And this is important even if you're not a jazz fan, because there are certain figures in music that were important, that are pillars of that particular style of music. When you think about jazz, he literally is mentioned in the same breath as Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Thelonious Monk, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, just maybe not quite as much of a household name. You know all those jazz names. Well, Sonny Rollins should absolutely be on there. Foundational and improvisational jazz saxophonist, dead at the age of 95. And then one that I don't have it up in front of me right now, but this one will hit home for anybody who ever enjoyed a little old school hip hop. Legendary MC Rob Bass has passed on. Rob Bass, DJ Easy Rock. Tenna, you familiar with the song "It Takes Two"?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one, exactly. It's one of those absolutely amazing party jams of all time. And Rob Bass has in fact sloughed off this mortal coil. R.I.P. Rob Bass.
May he rest in peace.
Absolutely. I do have a, where is it here? I really should, what was the George W. Bush quote? Maybe you've caught me unprepared. Maybe I'm not quite
I'm not quite as quick on my feet as I once used to be.
Exactly.
Which I think speaks for a lot of us.
Well, it does speak for a lot. Oh, I just wanted to mention, since I'm always talking about the end of life in famous musicians, thought I'd mention a couple that started on this day. I lied again. These are other artists who died on this day. Apparently the Grum Reaper runs deep in my blood, but legendary soul and jazz poet Gil Scott-Heron died on this day in 2011. Of course, we all know Whitey's on the Moon and the Revolution will not be televised. And Greg Allman, singer, keyboardist, co-founder of the legendary Allman Brothers Band, died on this day in 2017.
He was married to Cher. The wedding was so short that the divorce papers were filed before the wedding pictures came out of the Polaroid.
That was a long way to get to the store.
Yeah, it really was.
Do the kids get that joke anymore? They know what a Polaroid is?
Polaroids are hip now with it.
They back?
Again now. Well, my oldest nephew, Alex Jr., he does art.
Yeah, there's a hipster niche of people out there. They brought back Polaroid processing and Polaroid film. And also Andre 3000, who sings Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture, born on this day in 1974.
My oldest nephew, who plays music, and he also is an artist, he had an art show at some local saloon, and I went there and I bought, he does these, I can't even describe, well, they're paintings, but they're acrylic. I'll show I have a picture on my phone. It's the coolest thing ever. And he did a picture of Pink Floyd.
Oh,
and so I bought that. But then one of the gals there that he was hanging with had a Polaroid camera, and all she's doing is taking pictures. I have one. Yeah, here's a picture. Here's a picture. Yeah, because they've made a comeback.
They have, in fact.
I got a couple of other things I want to get to, and then of course we wrap up Rock Talk with Rock Rank. So we'll do all that and more here on Rock Talk with Common Tenby and Brian Oak on the Fan.
John Friesel and Meat Sauce take on Max.
Brian Oak. He joins Common and Tenby every Wednesday for a couple of segments for what we like to call Rock Talk.
And it's always nice to share some radio war stories with you, too, because you and I have both done this for such a long time and know so many of the main people.
How many times do you think I told that story?
The one you just told me? Well, knowing you and your personality, hundreds?
Hundreds of times.
At least, yeah. No, but it's still fun, man. I mean, that's what we do. No matter what industry you work in, you tell war stories when you've been around as long as a couple of old dogs like us.
Now, you say you had one other, we have Rock Rank, and we also have fake deaths? No, what do we call them?
No. Well, there was a death hoax.
Death hoax.
Yeah.
Death hoax.
No.
Death hoax.
Well, this one doesn't come up very often, thankfully. But apparently over the weekend, someone went to the trouble of making a huge post, some sort of online, I don't know if it was a full-blown website or what, but detailing in apparently really vigorous detail about the death of legendary Bee Gees frontman Barry Gibb, the only surviving member of the three Bee Gees from that era of the Bee Gees. And over the weekend, it said dead at the age of 79, and apparently went on about his life and length. And so I don't know if someone was just writing it as practice for when he does die and just wanted to have their rough draft ready. But it went out, and then it was deleted within the day, but it had already been seen, and apparently it was enough to send ripples worldwide on the internet. Barry Gibb, alive and well. According to his family, he is, quote, healthy, happy, and living life at his Miami area home, end quote, despite the false death reports.
Not only that, I think he's also wealthy and wise, too.
Yeah, I think he's probably doing tan, rested, and ready.
Well,
he's good.
I think that happens all the time. That's kind of a new thing that people like to do. It's awful, but people will do it because this was 6-8 months ago. Deuce goes, hey, did you hear Lem Barney? He was a defensive back for the Detroit Lions. He's like 80 years old. He also was a background singer on a Marvin Gaye, I think, on the song What's Going On.
Always learning.
Yeah. So
you're telling me there was an NFL player.
Oh, it said Lem Barney is dead at 80.
Right.
And it's like, wow, and it's like I'm looking up and I'm showing Deuce highlights of Lem Barney because he was one of my. I had two favorite athletes growing up: Al Kaline of the Detroit Tigers, Lem Barney of the Detroit Lions. Then all of a sudden, about 6 hours later, they go, "No, Lem's alive," and that happens frequently now, where people will just do it because they're looking just to, hey, I'm going to throw it to this guy today. It's kind of sick, is what it is.
Well, I mean, you get clicks, right? So this original post apparently had over 1 million clicks, then it got brought down, and I think the difference with this one here is that stuff does happen all the time, but this one, due to the international and decades-long appeal of the Bee Gees, this one went a lot further and was being picked up by reputable sources just because that's the other problem, is nobody wants to be late to the party. You need to get there if you're going to get the clicks and get the eyeballs. And yeah, this one went super wide, but just rest assured, anybody out there who spent the early part of this week grieving and playing the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in perpetuity, Barry Gibb is still very much alive and well.
A couple of other notes in the music world. AI copyright lawsuit. Sony Music filed to add more than 30,000 copyrighted recordings to its generative AI lawsuit against Udio.
Sure, I don't know.
Whoever that is.
I don't know who that is.
So I think what's happening there is, like, we've run into that here and in the radio business. You ask at BMI, you pay licensing fees, so the people who write those songs, they get paid for them when they get played. The more they get played, the more they make. It's called mailbox money.
Well, and that's why we don't right now for Rock Talk play the music live when we're talking about specific songs or artists, because it requires a level of expense that's considerable.
Well, we could play it if we didn't podcast the shows.
Right. But that's the thing, is the online part of it.
Yeah, so that because of the podcast. And I don't blame the company. I don't think the company should go, really? So you want us to play millions and millions of dollars so Common can do a Dylan duet once a week? Sorry, we're not paying that kind of money. And so they don't. And so if we ever have, like when we do montages on Mondays and Fridays during the football season, that segment just doesn't go on the podcast.
Okay. Well, I mean, and again, because the licensing for, terrestrial radio broadcast is very different. No one's still really figured out the online thing, and there's a ton of gray areas. And for a corporation the size of iHeart, it just makes sense to avoid those gray areas, because if you find yourself in the wrong part, the wrong neighborhood or the wrong alley in that, it's the expense is beyond considerable.
How's this for a halftime show?
What do you got?
World Cup, right?
Yeah,
Soccer.
Yeah.
Madonna. Is it Shakira? And BTS are rumored to be headlining the World Cup final halftime show.
This makes perfect sense. I mean, it covers the whole globe. You're talking about all of those artists with global reach. And BTS, with their comeback after their compulsory South Korean military service, and now they're back. They were the biggest band on the planet going into it. Then they're gone for 2 years. Now they're back, and the momentum there, all of this makes sense. Madonna's legacy, and Shakira, although she's getting to be legacy, has just been as vital an artist in any span Spanish-speaking community worldwide for a very, very long time. That makes perfect sense. I love all of it.
There is apparently there's an official tournament song called Die Die.
I think they come up with new music every single World Cup.
And guess what? Shakira is also teaming up with Burna Boy for Die Die.
Now,
I'm a big Burna Boy guy.
Listen, you go ahead and mock Burna Boy, but if we were playing real music, Burna Boy is British, and Burna Boy is actually really
Burna Boy,
really good. Now, it's probably not your kind of music,
probably
Common,
not.
but if you like beat heavy stuff and you like kind of a hardcore working class British rap situation,
Burna Boy's your guy.
Well, you know what? At least worth checking out. How about that?
Is Burna Boy just one person, or is it the name of the band?
I think it's the name of the guy. Okay. I don't go deep on Burna Boy, I'm going to be honest, but I have heard a few tracks.
Now, this next piece, my last piece of music news for the day, it dovetails nicely into Rock Rank, because this is what it says. Catalog discoveries. Paul McCartney revealed he is seeking to unearth an unreleased Prince cover of the Beatles' The Long and Winding Road.
What? Really?
It's probably, if it exists, it's probably terrific.
Yeah.
When I close my eyes and think of Prince doing The Long and I just don't see it because it doesn't seem, but I bet it's really good.
So Prince has a bunch of songs that he has done, just him solo to piano. In fact, he put out an entire album of just those things. But like his cover, the reason I think that it would help you get there, one of his most famous covers is Joni Mitchell's A Case of You.
Oh, really?
And it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Because his ability on any musical instrument is just freakish. But then when he wants to, when he's not doing all the hysterics and the acrobatics with his voice,
right,
it's gorgeous. I'm telling you, I think that would probably be not only beautiful, but might generate a lot of mailbox money for both estates.
Yes, I would think so.
He was part of a live cover of While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah. Very famously, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he did. He owned it and then threw his guitar into straight up in the air into the crowd after the performance. No, there was nobody like Prince.
The kids would say he shredded it.
Oh, he more than that. Yeah.
More than shredded.
It was fire.
I've seen that performance. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Two of my favorite performances to watch is Prince playing the guitar solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and then to watch Ann and Nancy Wilson do Stairway to Heaven with the members of Led Zeppelin in attendance.
I've never seen that.
It's really cool. You should watch it.
Well, I mean, Heart is one of my all-time favorite bands. So
have you not seen that?
I don't know the answer to that question. Is it? So when did?
It's my favorite live performance of all time.
Really? Did this go down recently? A long time ago?
It was during Obama's term because it was at the Kennedy
Center. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'll look it up. I have not ever seen it or heard of that before.
I will send it to you.
All right, please. Thank you.
It's really good. And cover songs lead into the next edition of
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Rock
I
Rank.
like the fourth one. It almost sounds angry. Listen.
Rock Rank.
Rock Rank.
Yeah, you've already said it. Brian Oak, we would like to hear your top 5 cover songs of all time.
All right. Well, once again, I've been tasked with doing something absolutely impossible because there's an unlimited number of great songs out there, and we can all easily, off the top of our head, come up with 20 songs that the cover is better than the original. So I just picked 5 because there's way too many on this list. You want to start at number 5?
Yeah, number 5.
Speaking of Prince covering songs or people covering Prince songs, number 5 for me, because it was a very brave choice, both in terms of the iconic video that accompanies it, and it was an unlikely direction for someone who was a young, sort of semi-aggro, dance-oriented pop song writer. Sinead O'Connor covering Prince's Nothing Compares to You is not only hauntingly beautiful, just awash in all these gorgeous synthesizers and piano notes, but the video is that one static shot of her face where the teardrops, I mean, it's all practical effects, no CGI, nothing. It's haunting. It's breathtaking every single time, and it's a killer version of that song.
Number 5 for me would be Ringo Starr and the Beatles doing Act Naturally. I just thought I'd throw that in here. That is a cover song. I don't remember who did it.
Oh, really? I thought that was a Ringo.
No. Well, he did it, but I think that's a cover song. Somebody, Act Naturally, was done years before.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
before that, number 4, this is a perfect example, maybe the prime example of someone covering a song that's not theirs and no one even knows there was an original. Even though the original was a semi-hit, it just becomes their song and synonymous with that person. At number 4, I've got Aretha Franklin with her take on Respect, which was originally Otis Redding, and his version is fantastic. But, I mean, we're talking about Aretha. She also happens to do on her Aretha Arrives album a brilliant cover of the Rolling Stones' Satisfaction. Very funky, very soulful. It's really good. Yeah, you would love it.
So I didn't even know the Respect was a cover song.
It is Otis Redding, and he does it's a slower version. It doesn't have nearly kind of the massive horn arrangements that her version has. But again, she owns it so thoroughly. There's just you don't associate that song with anybody but Aretha.
And is there speaking of Otis Redding, sitting at the dock of the bay?
Yeah.
Wasn't that released after his death?
I believe so.
I think it was.
I don't think he got to enjoy the fruits of his biggest success.
I think he perished before that song was released. He recorded it, and it was released shortly after his death, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, back then things moved super quickly. There wasn't months of planning and all this. You recorded a track, you got it out, you got it pressed, you put it out there.
Well, that's why a lot of those Beatles songs aren't on albums.
Right.
Like Ticket to Ride.
We're not waiting for a whole album. This is the Beatles. Let's go. Yeah. You guys got to get back in the studio next week after this tour. Number three. Another one of those covers that is so iconic that you do not think, only because we're from Minnesota, but you don't think of the original the way you think of this well-known, much better-known cover. And that would be Jimi Hendrix covering Bob Dylan's legendary song, All Along the Watchtower. Bob Dylan's version is great and haunting and poignant, and we're very provincial, so we love that he's Minnesotan. But Hendrix's version is so incendiary, probably one of his very best vocal performances of his entire career, and the guitar solo speaks for itself. So he takes what's this great epic Midwestern poem and then turns it into this gigantic psychedelic fantasy exploration of going within and going without. So number 3 is Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower.
Now, this is going to sound crazy, but we just talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Dave Basin, formerly of Traffic, he played acoustic guitar on Jimi Hendrix's version. He does a version of All Along the Watchtower that I think I've watched him do it 3 times live in concert. I've also heard it on a live recording.
Yeah.
It's simply spectacular. He was a very underrated guitar player.
Right.
And his version of it, I guess it's blasphemy to say it's better than Hendrix.
Well, no, but
and you can't.
There's not better in music. If it hits you, if it hits your happy button harder than the Hendrix version does, then you're right. For you, it absolutely is better. And when we talk about covers, to me, it's maybe the most iconic one of the best. Number 2, not as well known a song, but absolutely one of my favorites. It is the opening track to one of my top 5 albums of all time, Blondie's Parallel Lines. It is their cover of the song Hanging on the Telephone. You know, Blondie's Hanging on the Telephone. That was covered by a really cool, edgy new wave band called The Nerves. That's who did it originally. But Blondie's version, plus I have a penchant for female lead singers, and I think that is one of the coolest covers I've ever heard in my entire life.
So that is number 2. And then
number 2.
What you feel is the best cover the history of recorded music?
Well, my favorite cover. Yes, by far my favorite cover. And again, we could go super deep on some of these, but I'm trying to pick things that are popular, that people are aware of, that I think are worthy of these kind of accolades. Number 1 for me was an unlikely cover, a completely reimagined cover. And what this one does is it's super iconic, but it does not blot out the original. They both hold a really sacred place in the history of popular music. So the original comes along and it's great. It's a hit. Everybody loves it. Then an entirely different version of it comes along. It's a hit. It's great. And they both stood the test of time. And that would be Ike and Tina Turner covering Proud Mary by CCR. Yeah. I don't think there's a better example of a genuine, an honest cover, a one that's genuine and just to the source material, but then also reinvents it in a way, and then the dynamic and the pacing changes throughout it. I just think it's not only one of the greatest songs ever, but it's probably my favorite cover of all time. My
favorite cover of all time was a song that was written and first recorded by American singer-songwriter John D. Loudermilk.
Oh.
Back in 1960. '64 rock and roll edition by the English band the Nashville Teens is the most famous version and became an international hit. But I think the best version of the song Tobacco Road was by Edgar Winter's White Trash.
Yeah.
17 minutes.
It's a lot, man. I mean, it's a great rendition, but it's a lot.
And well, I want you to listen to it. I don't think
I've listened to it.
Oh, because
I'm a Blues Magoos guy. The Blues Magoos cover is 4.5 minutes long, right in the pocket. 17. Nobody needs 17.5 minutes of anything, man.
We're going to do a little, get down and do a little blues for you now. And that's what he says. That's what it is. He goes,
but you're the same guy.
We call this one Tobacco Road. He goes in, and the best part is when he's matching his vocals with Rick Derringer's guitar playing.
Right.
It's just, I mean, I would think 99 out of 100 people listening, if they listened to it after about 2 minutes, they would turn it off and go, well, this is ridiculous. But I just find it spelled.
It's good the whole way through.
Days,
exactly.
You know?
No, and
we
people
played that it was Road. It's a live version from Edgar Winter's double album, Road Work, which was recorded, I think, half of it at the Apollo in New York and the other at the Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles.
Do you still get the same level of enjoyment out of those kind of things like Yes, Close to the Edge, or the 17-minute version of Tobacco Road in your post-Dubage era?
Yeah.
You do still.
I've told this story. I was headed to Camp Richard. Up to Grandview this is 10, 12 years ago.
I heard you explaining Camp Richard on the air yesterday, and I laughed and laughed and laughed all the way down the road.
So I'm headed up there and go, I want to find this one. I still have the CD player in my car. Cars, they don't make them with CD players anymore.
Tell me about it.
With my technology.
Yeah.
But I went to Best Buy, and I'm flipping. I want a new CD to listen to, something not new, just something I haven't listened to in a long time.
Right.
I stumble across Close to the Edge, and I go, I haven't listened to this since my Haight-Ashbury days. I buy it. I put it in the car. There's 3 songs. Side 1 is 18 minutes, 40 seconds long. It's close. The song is
You
close.
remember that very CD that you bought. You were so on fire about it that you loaned it to me, and I had it in my truck for a while.
And your daughter said
this song is still going on.
Yeah, well, yeah, she goes, do they ever sing? Because it takes 4 minutes till they get to the singing part. But
right. Anyway, you were saying.
I listened to it. I was so overcome with emotions, I pulled over to the side of the road and I wept.
Wow.
I didn't really, but I'm like saying
okay, it's a great story.
Wept. And then I said, well, I have to listen to it again. And then that part is true. I listened to it a second time.
Yeah.
The words make no sense. They never do in that kind of prog.
Well, that's not what that's for. No. I mean, the voice is almost just another instrument, and it's not really about telling a story.
Now, my oldest boy, Deuce, just listened to the entire start to finish Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
That's a big one.
Well, and he just went, I just can't believe how good that is. And I'd like to see the
Well, that means he's entering his Dubage era.
Yeah, well, it could very well be. But he's, I don't think right now he's doing the Dubage era because he's running grandmas. And so
a lot of places it's legal, and that's just fine. So it doesn't matter.
But what I mean is he's good. Right,
he's a healthy guy.
Grandma, so he's got to stay healthy here for
Yeah, you told me on vacation he's doing 16, 17-mile runs?
Yeah.
What?
And now he dials it down. He says, because you don't want to be running long, that far. Because that's in June sometimes. So he says now a distance runner starts to dial back what they do. But he loved Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, well, you got to taper before a big event.
It's a top 5. It's a top 5 album for me of all time. Take away the Beatles albums, and I would say that's top 5 album for me of all time.
There are other Pink Floyd records that I like more personally, just for my personal aesthetic. But you can't listen to that and not recognize that it's a masterwork, and not only in storytelling, in songcraft, in studio production. There's a reason that it's been charting for 45, 50, more than 50 years. There's a reason that it never goes off the chart because it's endlessly fascinating.
You are correct. It's always good to see you.
Disappointed Africa by Weezer did not make the list today.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't run down the rest of my list, but there are a million. Johnny Cash doing Hurt, 9 Inch Nails. Cream doing Crossroads, originally by Robert Johnson. Red Hot Chili Peppers do both Higher Ground and Fire. They do great job. Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You, arguably the most successful cover song of all time. Obviously, Dolly Parton doing the original. And then, Cowboy Junkies doing Sweet Jane by the Velvet Underground. Fuji's doing Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack. And tennis favorites, Guns N' Roses doing both Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door.
That's a good one.
And McCartney's Live and Let Die.
And what about Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say Alien Ant Farm, Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, I'm not big on the Alien Ant Farm. I'm more into five-finger death punch and saliva.
Yeah.
But they made it their own.
Yes, I suppose that's true.
One very underrated cover is the Archies' Bang Shang-a-Lang.
Right.
Bang Shang-a-Lang.
Who did the original?
The Who did the original? I didn't know that.
To say Bang. Yeah, the Who. I didn't know the Who did.
Oh, I'm not getting into this one.
No, let's not. Again, your podcast available.
Just The Brian Oak Show. You can get it all over the place. Check out the new website, thebrianoakshow.com. And if you want to listen to it, you got 577 episodes, all of them available through the free iHeartRadio app.
ROK Talk next Wednesday. We'll see you then.
See you then.
We'll break. We'll come back. And Mark Rosen joins us next on The Fan.
Rosen joins the Common Man.
Oh, boy.
Next on The Fan.